A contract that made history, an offensive target nobody saw coming, a name from the past who could return to ignite the locker room, and an absence that deep down exposes an all-too-familiar drama in Seattle. This is Ethan Carter, and today's Seahawks Insider Report brings you 4 bombshells that reveal not just what the team is doing, but what it's trying to hide. The front office broke an NFL tradition, might sign an unlikely former Pro Bowler, is eyeing an explosive old friend, yes, and is already kicking off training camp with a painful setback. What does all this reveal about the future of the franchise? Well, Seahawks fan, before we dive into the details of this Wednesday with the latest on our team, a personal request from me to you. If you follow the Seahawks Insider Report and enjoy our analysis but haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. It's crucial for the channel and for our community of Seahawks fans to keep growing. Thank you so much for your support. Are you sitting down? Because what the Seahawks did this week has never happened before in NFL history. And that's no exaggeration. For the first time ever, a team gave a 100% guaranteed contract to the 35th pick in the draft. And that team is ours. Yes, Nick Emenwari, the safety out of South Carolina, now has a 4-year, $11.6 million fully guaranteed deal. This changes everything. It changes the market, it changes the logic of negotiations, and most importantly, it changes Emenwari's status within the roster. He's not just a second-round pick, he's being treated like a first-rounder, and that's exactly what the front office made clear. John Schneider, by the way, almost traded back into the first round to get him, even after already picking guard Gray Zabel in the top 20. Emenwari was one of the top 5 safeties in the country coming out of college, with linebacker-like size, 6'3", 215 lbs, corner instincts, and box safety aggression. A true defensive chameleon. And that's where the tactical analysis comes in. Mike McDonald, who loves 3 safety formations and heavy nickel variations, could use Emenwari as the key piece of his hybrid system. But hold on, insiders have already warned, he's not expected to start right away, at least not on the first snap of Week 1. The initial idea is to deploy him as the 3rd safety in specific packages, gradually increasing his snaps. But with a fully guaranteed contract in his pocket, how long will gradually really last? The locker room reads between the lines, and when the money is all guaranteed, the message is clear. This guy came to play, and soon. However, this move also raises another uncomfortable question. If the Seahawks had to guarantee everything to sign him, what does that say about the climate between rookies and the front office? The pressure on the 2025 class was intense, and only now in the final stretch of the offseason did Emenwari finally sign. There were stalled negotiations, holdout threats, and a locker room impasse. This isn't common, but perhaps it was necessary, because by making history, Seattle also forced other teams to act. The Browns and Texans have already guaranteed contracts for picks 33 and 34, but after that, the pattern stalled again, and there's a reason pick 36 was arrested, literally. Quinshon Judkins of Cleveland assaulted a woman and is out of training camp. The cycle of guarantees might stop there. In other words, the Seahawks became a benchmark, but also an exception. But the most important question now isn't about the past. It's about the field. How will Emenwari fit into this transforming defense? And what does the front office plan to do on the opposite side of the ball? The answer might involve a name that's already shined in the Pro Bowl. Imagine seeing a Pro Bowler in our backfield wearing blue and green right here at Lumen Field. Sounds like a dream? Well, know that Naji Harris is on the Seahawks' radar, and the conversation is hotter than many people realize. The veteran, currently with the Chargers, has a 1-year, $5.25 million contract that can go up to $9.25 million with bonuses, and the Los Angeles franchise has signaled they're open to offers. Why? Simple. They have rookies like Omarion Hampton rising on the depth chart, and Harris just landed on the NFI list due to a bizarre fireworks injury. It's not serious, but it's delayed his preseason. For the Chargers, it's a yellow flag. For the Seahawks, a golden opportunity. And the timing couldn't be more symbolic. The offense led by Sam Darnold needs stability, and Harris offers exactly that. 4 consecutive seasons with over 1,000 rushing yards, a history of durability, pass-catching ability, and above all, leadership. Tyler Lockett's departure left a hole not just on the field but in the soul of the locker room. Harris can help fill part of that. Technically, he fits perfectly into Mike Macdonald's hybrid scheme. He's the kind of running back who doesn't need to come off the field, strong between the tackles, agile in short spaces, and with reliable hands for check release routes. Imagine the play-action plays with Darnold throwing to the second level, with Harris holding the opposing box. He's the kind of presence that transforms the opponent's defensive reads and opens up pathways for receivers like Jackson Smith-Njigba, DK Metcalf, and the tight ends to do damage. And there's more. Harris's short contract gives Seattle room to test him out without committing long-term. If it works, they re-sign him. If not, they walk away clean. It's the kind of calculated risk John Schneider loves. And if you still think it's an exaggeration, remember Marshawn Lynch arriving discredited in 2010? Yeah, sometimes an experienced name is all that's missing to get things going. Now, of course, there are risks. The eye injury, even if superficial, raise concerns. And the recent history of running backs with sharp declines after age 27 is real. Harris is 26, but if the medical staff gives the green light, the chance is there. And the market right now favors the Seahawks. The question is, will the front office be aggressive, or will they wait and see the player go to another contender? Because with the talent he has, if it's not here, someone will pull the trigger. But perhaps the interest in Harris reveals something deeper, something about the urgency to win now, and about Macdonald's vision for this rebuild. And it's in this scenario that another veteran name is starting to gain traction in Seattle, a name that's already worn our jersey, who was once a star, and who might be coming back. What if I told you the name Jadeveon Clowney is back on the table in Seattle? Yes, that's right. The physical freak who has divided opinions, but who no one dares ignore when he's in shape. Clowney is a free agent after being cut by the Panthers, freeing up $7.7 million on their cap. And according to sources close to John Schneider, the Seahawks are considering an offer. Feeling déjà vu? It's no coincidence. Clowney has worn our jersey before and left his mark, some good, some bitter. But today, the context is different. The front seven needs depth. Boy Maffei and Derek Hall are promising, but still green. And new coordinator Aiden Durd wants constant intensity in the pass rush, which requires a more robust rotation. Clowney at 32 could be exactly that, a situational wrecking ball. In 2024, he only had 5.5 sacks, but his impact numbers, tackles for loss, QB hits, pressures in sub-packages, are still scary. He's the type of player who doesn't need to be in every snap, but when he comes in, he changes the tone of the drive. He still has lateral explosiveness, closes the pocket with authority, and, most importantly, he has a warrior mentality, something Mike Macdonald wants to instill as part of the culture. And then comes the emotional side. Clowney always played best when he felt challenged, when he had something to prove. And coming back to Seattle with a chance to rewrite his story and lead a promising defense, it could be the perfect trigger. Of course, there are questions. His physical consistency in recent years has fluctuated. In 2023, he had good performances, but saw a drop in production late in the season. And his name has been through several locker rooms: Texans, Titans, Browns, Ravens, Panthers. But unlike other times, today he would arrive as a rotational piece. No promises that he'll be the pass rush savior. The idea is to use him in the right moments, manage his energy, and exploit his experience on third downs where he's still lethal. Plus, he comes without draft costs, which appeals to the planning department. So, fan, is it worth a shot or not? Because Clowney could be the typical player who, if used correctly, becomes a secret weapon in decisive games, especially on a roster that wants to take the next step but still needs veterans who have smelled the playoffs. But while the front office evaluates the Clowney equation, another problem explodes without warning in training camp, a problem that, unfortunately, has become routine in Seattle. An important name on defense landed on the PUP list, and it's not just any player. Here we go again. Another injury, another absence at the worst possible time. Uchenna Nwosu, the Seahawks starting linebacker, has started the 2025 training camp on the infamous PUP list, and honestly, you can already call it a curse. He underwent knee surgery in the offseason, which John Schneider called just a minor adjustment, nothing serious, just a cleanup. But anyone who follows Nwosu's recent history knows that the word minor no longer applies. Since signing with Seattle in 2022 and shining in his debut against Denver, 7 tackles, a sack, forced fumble, Defensive Player of the Week award, he's alternated flashes of excellence with painful absences. In 2023, he missed 11 games due to a torn pectoral. In 2024, a string of bad luck. First, a dirty chop block in the preseason against the Browns, then an MCL sprain, and finally a thigh injury that turned into a quadriceps tear. 3 different problems, 3 holes in the defense, and now, again. The knee injury, although a cleanup according to doctors, has kept him out of early practices and, with that, out of the unit's tactical development. For a system like McDonald's, based on fine-tuned adjustments, intense communication, and blitz simulations, the absence of a starting second-level player affects the entire machine. Nwosu is more than just statistics. He's a communication anchor on the sideline, a silent leader, and a positioning reference in mixed packages. And his absence reopens a wound that Seattle fans know all too well: defensive inconsistency caused by key injuries. Since the fall of the Legion of Boom, the Seahawks have struggled to find continuity in the front 7. Year after year, the same story repeats. The coach is new, the scheme changes, but the specter of the infirmary remains. And then the question is inevitable: can Nwosu be trusted long-term, or is it time to prepare for a replacement? Because if Seattle's defense wants to take the next step in 2025, it needs consistency. It needs a pass rush that can stay healthy through November. And with Uchenna, unfortunately, that hasn't been happening. He himself said in an ESPN interview that it's been frustrating, that he feels like he's fighting factors out of his control, that the knee hit was dirty, that the pectoral tear changed everything, and that he dreams just once of playing a full season. He deserves it, but the Seahawks need to act as if he might not. The rotation needs to be reinforced, and the time is now. Perhaps that's why the interest in Clowney makes even more sense. But even with all these physical problems and uncertainties, one truth remains: the veteran fans' hope never dies. And after all this, can we still dream? Seattle isn't just preparing for another season, it's trying to rewrite the entire script. When a team makes history with a rookie contract, targets a Pro Bowler to change the offense, considers bringing back an old gladiator to bolster the front, and even under injuries, refuses to back down, it's because something bigger is being stitched together. Maybe it's not just a rebuild, maybe it's a rescue of identity, of respect, of ambition. The Legion of Boom isn't coming back, but the hunger is. If you saw Largent, cheered for the Boom, and still believe in a championship, this channel is for you.